Hi, my name is Gearoid, aka Gearoid the Great, and this is another video in my video series about my travels to America. And today I'll be talking about my second time going to Hollywood and LA and my first time going to San Francisco. Hope you like. After traveling to America twice before, first time going to Las Vegas and Hollywood with my friend, and my second time going to New York and Washington DC with two of my brothers, I decided for my third time to go solo, which is kind of a big move for me because I never travelled before by myself. The solo trip to LA basically came about after I came across this thing online called the Hollywood Pitch Fest, and basically what this entails is people submitting their TV show or film ideas to producers and production companies and networks, and hoping that somewhere along the line something gets developed. In my head I was like, I've got a great idea for a TV show and I really think it could be a big hit. So once I submitted my idea for this Pitch Fest, I needed to get everything booked. I went ahead, got my ESTA visa thing, and then I had to go to Expedia and book all my travel and accommodation. And I decided to go for a total of 10 days to LA and 2 days to San Francisco. The reason I wanted to spend 10 days in LA was because 3 of the days I had to spend going to this Pitch Fest, and I wanted to have as much time as I could to get out there and explore. The day arrived when I needed to head to the airport, August the 2nd, 2018. I remember it so well because when I was sitting waiting to get the bus to the airport in the bus station, I got up and kind of like forgot one of my bags, and I didn't realise until I was on the bus, and then I was like, shit, where's the bag with my MacBook? It was just sitting there in the bus station. Luckily enough, the bus hadn't like set off yet, so it was still at like the terminal, so I could get off and get back on. But yeah, that was the first mishap that really like threw me off, but I got over it. I pretty much fell asleep on the bus and then got to the airport in Dublin, went through the security checks for borders and stuff. So then I get on the plane and I'm still kind of feeling, you know, all sorts of emotions. Anxious, stressed, excited, and then I watched the movie Love, Simon because I'm a big gay, and that also gets me all up in my face, and I'm like, what am I doing? What's going on? But then I get over it once I arrive in LA and I feel the warm hot sun. So I get through the airport and then I get onto the shuttle bus, which is meant to take me to my hotel. Inside the shuttle there's another passenger, a lady who was visiting LA basically to talk about one of her books being turned into like a TV show or a film adaptation, which sounded really exciting. I didn't expect to hear all this, but yeah, hearing that just kind of gave me hope that you never know what could happen with this TV show idea that I have. Maybe things could take off. So yeah, speaking to her made me feel a lot more settled and calm, even though I hadn't arrived at my hotel or anything. I was just in this car speaking to the stranger. I did feel a bit more at ease because of this. So then it's D-Day, pitch time. Basically what happens is there's this big empty room, like a function room, where there's about 30 tables of all these different production companies, and everyone has registered to spend 5 minutes with a certain production company at a time, and you have a list and you kind of just find this production company and then sell your soul. Just talk to them as much as you can about your show or your film idea and try and let them see why they should pick it up. So yeah, I'm basically pitching to executives of like ABC and, you know, Warner Brothers and all these like random people from these big companies, and you know, there was people from like Kevin Hart's company and Bradley Cooper's company, like all I could do was try. But there was times when I was doing my pitch and I knew they weren't interested. I remember there's one producer who really like wasn't interested in it, and he just seemed so cold. Like he didn't even get through the full 5 minutes. But 2 minutes in, it's just like, yeah, this isn't for me. This isn't what we want to do. I'm pretty sure it was Cinemagic. Now I've worked with Cinemagic over here, and they are really nice. But Cinemagic over in America, yeah, they just seem very cutthroat. We don't care, you know. It's basically just like, yeah, we're done. So yeah, I politely walked away, and that was that. But it is such a like weird process. It's not like you're just going in for one interview. You're going for about 15 one day and then 15 the other, so like 30 in total. I'm pretty sure I registered for more pitches than I was allowed to, but you know, I really want to get my work out there and hustle my way up. The lunch breaks on this pitch fest were also quite interesting because we all got to like interact with one another on like the mixer event. Basically, it was like a buffet. Everyone just grabbed food and then sat down at a table, and because there was only so many tables, everyone kind of had to share a table, which was good because we did get speaking to each other. I got to hear more about the other people and what they were pitching. I wanted to know if anyone had similar ideas to what mine was, and like no one did, because my idea is still quite unique. To end the story, like it never got picked up by anyone. Like there was people who were interested, and I did have to send my script over, but nothing really happened with it. But I still have hopes for it because I really feel like my idea is definitely like the next Glee. I'm saying it now, I also feel like it could be bigger than Glee. Maybe cocky words, but I have to say it. If I don't believe it, then who else is going to believe it? But yes. So one of the first things I did after the pitch fest was over was go along the Walk of Fame and find that bloody Fleetwood Mac star, because in my previous trip to LA, where I was traveling with my friend after we went to Las Vegas and also to LA, we tried to find the Fleetwood Mac star on the Walk of Fame, but like we searched and searched and we couldn't find it, and we were running out of time. But now that I was back in Hollywood, I could actually go and, you know, use my time wisely and find this bloody star. And I found it, and it was kind of like out far compared to the more lively part of the Walk of Fame, but yes, I found it and I was so happy. Like I would have kissed it if I could, but you know, I didn't, because you know, there might have been like dog piss or whatever on it. So yeah, I found the star and I'm like, yay. And then I got walking along the Walk of Fame, saw more stars like Marilyn Monroe's, and there was actually like a bouquet of flowers, Marilyn Monroe's Walk of Fame star, and there were people like lined up to take pictures at it. So I recorded a segment for this video where I explained what I did on the Warner Brothers Studios tour, but the video clip must have got deleted or didn't record properly, so here's a few clips of the Warner Brothers Studios tour, and yeah, lol. Once I'd done the Warner Brothers Studio tour, I'm like, I need to get out and see the Universal Studios area and get exploring the theme parks and also do their tours too. So it's about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock by the time I get to Universal Studios. At this point I'm like, I know the theme park is open until 9 o'clock, so I'm like, you know, 5 hours, plenty of time. But what I didn't realise is how like big it was and how much there is to see. I remember getting there and being so excited to see the Simpsons area. Like they had like this whole like setup for Springfield from the Simpsons, and I was like, this is amazing, because I'm a big fan of that as well. Yeah, getting to see like the Quickie Mart, Moe's, and you know, Krusty Burger, all this stuff was just class. And I remember seeing the Simpsons ride and getting in the queue, and then seeing that the wait time in the queue was like 55 minutes. I'm like, what the hell? How can it be this long to get onto one ride? I couldn't believe it. And then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go explore a bit more and then come back and see if like the time dies down. And I do that, and I come back and still see a amount of time. I'm like, well, what the hell is going on? And then I think to myself, you know what, if it's not going to change, might as well just get in line now and get it over and done with. So yep, that's what I do. And of course it does take a whole 55 minutes, which I'm just gutted by, because this is eating precious time out of my trip. because getting to Universal Studios is pretty expensive. It was like $130 for like a 1-day entry, and in my head I really wish I had this worked out better, because if I had came here at like 9 o'clock in the morning and stayed until 9 o'clock at night, I would have had like a whole 12 hours to get out and explore Universal Studios. And believe me, there was so much to like do here. I never really got to see anything else other than the Simpsons area and certain parts of the theme park. Like I got to do the studio tour, which was amazing. Like seriously, got to see all the different sets they had, from like The Grinch, Jaws, Desperate Housewives. Like it was crazy, but I loved it too. The special effects and all like the technology and stuff they had in it was just top quality. I really recommend it. But if you do go to Universal Studios, make sure you go for a whole day. Don't just go for like a few hours like I stupidly did. I recorded another segment for this video explaining about my time going to the Late Late Show with James Corden. Yeah, I think that video clip also got deleted. Let's just cut to it. Here's me explaining my time going to the James Corden show. So then after we check in, we all head into the studio and you're told to turn off your phone. You're not allowed to record or take pictures or anything like that. Then they take you into the actual like set and they point you to your seat. Luckily I was in a front row kind of chair, which was pretty good viewing. I was close enough to see like the band and like the lights and the cameras, and yeah, it was pretty cool. And there was a guy who was like a hype man who tried to, you know, get the audience hyped. Basically what he was doing was trying to, you know, get everyone in the mood for like the show, trying to create an atmosphere, just trying to get everyone excited, I guess. He would just tell jokes and do like interaction with the audience, and then when it came to showtime, he was like, everyone, I want you to be as loud as you can. If you have to cheer like your life depends on it, and if you have to laugh as if it's the funniest thing you've ever heard. So yeah, they really build things up before the actual recording, and then when it comes to shooting time, everyone's on game. You see Reggie and the band get out and play music. So then you see James Corden appear, and this is pretty like, I can't believe he's actually there. He's a lot tanner than I expected, but you know, it's probably makeup. I know they were filming this as if it was live, so even though it wasn't live, they still filmed it as if it was. Basically what that means is when they said, oh, we're going to go to a commercial break, they acted as if they were on a commercial break, and like after like a few minutes they would be back on it, like as if it was like live. Once they announce the guests and they come down the stairs, I'm close enough to the side where I like very much hands away from Chloë Moretz and Romano as they make their way onto the sofa, which is really like, oh, I'm so close to celebrities. And then at the end of the show, James Corden does like a hand slide kind of thing with the audience, and he also touches my hand as part of this, which I'm like, I touched his hand, you know. So after the James Corden show is done, there's nothing else I really have to do other than get ready to go to my next hotel, which is Quality Inn and Suites located in the La Brea area. This is like a chain hotel, so there's a few Quality Inn places all over America. But yeah, the one I go to was pretty nice. Even though it was like a last minute booking, like I was able to get a decent room. And the buffet breakfast I had was pretty nice too. I love the waffle machine. So after checking into my third hotel, I then get out and do some more exploring. This time I go for a celebrity homes tour, which sounds right up my street because, you know, I love the whole, you know, glamour of Hollywood, and getting to see like these fancy ass houses that are owned by celebrities is like perfect for me. So he takes us to Michael Jackson's last house, where he also died in, and beside that house is another house which was previously owned by Elvis.
By the name of Elvis Presley. He lived here from 1970 to 1975. This is the last house he had out here before he died. Where this light pole is on our left, all the way up here to this corner. This is the home that Michael Jackson moved into after he left the Never Never Land Ranch and he was doing his farewell tour. And then right upstairs, ladies and gentlemen, is the master bedroom of where he died at.
We also go to Judy Garland's old house, which is very pretty. They have like statues out in the garden. We also go to Katy Perry's house, and we go to a house that Justin Bieber used to own, and we also see where like the Gwen Stefani and stuff live. But then when we're driving through Beverly Hills and Rodeo Drive, we see a Rolls Royce lined up on the street, and the tour guide's like, oh, that's Meek Mill in the car, and then he shouts out to Meek Mill, and then Meek Mill just kind of looks at us like, who the hell are you? Like, he doesn't care, you know. But in this fancy Rolls Royce, you know, it looked proper swanky.
This is the Rolls Royce. Here he goes right here. Meek Millie. What's up, son?
Oh, shit. Wow.
All right, Meek.
But yeah, we drive through Rodeo Drive and see all the fancy shops, and you know, the chapel, the Abbey, Pump, which is the Vanderpump's place, and yeah, he does know his knowledge, this tour guide, you know. So after the Celebrity Homes tour is done, I then go and do the Madame Tussauds Waxworks tour, because, you know, I love seeing it. The last time I was in America, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do it again. So I go in and take photos and videos of every waxwork I see pretty much, and then I remember the poster outside saying the new Kylie Jenner waxwork inside, and I'm like, you know what, I don't even remember getting a picture of the Kylie Jenner waxwork. So then I go in and ask, where was the Kylie Jenner waxwork? Like, I'm some sort of obsessed fan. And the worker was like, yeah, we had to send it off to get mended because it got broke a little bit. So there must have been a fan who was obsessed, and it got like a bit too handsy and broke part of it off or something, you know. One of the last things I go and see during my time in LA was go and check out Venice Beach, because on my previous trip to LA with my friend Martin, we went to Santa Monica Beach and we never really got to see Venice Beach. So in my head I'm like, well, because everywhere in Hollywood is so warm, the beach is obviously gonna be like really hot. So basically I'm wearing like a tank top, as the Americans would say. We would just say like a vesty top. And shorts, swim shorts. But yeah, I get there and it's like breezy, and it's not like hot like the other places in Hollywood seem to be. So I'm like, okay, I go down to the beach and lie down, and yep, it is getting pretty cold and windy, but still very sunny. So I'm like, oh, I'll just get up and do a bit more exploring, and then I walk along the boardwalk and get to see all the different like stalls people have set up for like selling their art and playing music and just doing whatever. You do see some homeless people. I remember seeing a guy selling shitty advice for $5. You know, tempted as I was, I didn't, and I regret that to this day. But yeah, I remember just walking along the boardwalk and then going to see the Muscle Beach, which had like 0 men there. There's probably like 1 or 2, and like, you know, I really heard things about this place where everyone comes to see the Muscle Beach, where there's all these like bodybuilders and stuff, but yeah, there was like none of that, sadly. But there was like a skate park, and you got to see people like skating. So yeah, there's plenty to do in Venice Beach. You could also walk along the boardwalk even further, which would take you down to Santa Monica, but I didn't do that. I stayed in Venice Beach, and my phone was dying, and I'm like, shit. Like, I needed my phone to be like charged enough so I can get an Uber to get home. I remember like booking an Uber when I seen how low my battery was, and I still needed to see where the car was stopping, and the only way I could see where the car was stopping is if I had my phone on, and like my battery was like so low. I remember it was like 2 or 3%, and like if this phone turns off, like I'm screwed, you know. Like, I don't really have pockets in my swim shorts for money, so I don't even remember if I had any extra cash, but yeah, I had my phone on like 2%, I was like, please, please God, please let this Uber arrive in time so I can get in the car and get the hell to the hotel. Luckily enough it did. So yeah, then the next day arrives. I have to get ready to go and fly out to San Francisco. So after I get my breakfast, I go for one last walk along the Walk of Fame, and then I remember to myself, Marilyn Monroe's handprints, a Chinese theatre show. I forgot all about that. I remember this lyric from the Kelly Rowland song, Stowe, where she talks about Marilyn Monroe's handprints outside a Chinese theatre show.
He's got the same size hands as Marilyn Monroe. She put her fingers in the imprints at Men's Chinese theatre show.
And I'm like, I need to go and do that before I leave LA. So I go up to go and find the imprints, and then I get to the Chinese theatre show and it's like cordoned off because like it's early in the morning and it's like closed off to the public. And I'm like, no, because like this is like the last thing I want to do is actually get and see Marilyn Monroe's handprints. But I see a security guard there. I'm like, can I go and see the handprints? He's like, no, you can't. I'm like, well, can you at least record it on my phone for me? I was like, okay. So he takes my phone and records Marilyn Monroe's handprints and then brings back my phone to me. I'm like, yay, like bittersweet because I did get to see it, but I didn't get to touch it. But then I'm like, you know what, I got it done and I need to get out of here. I get my flight to San Francisco, so I go back to the hotel and then get an Uber and head off to the airport. Then I arrive in San Francisco and it is still kind of warm there, but not as warm as LA was, which is devastating to me because, you know, I love the heat. But nonetheless, I'm happy to be there and it is still pretty warm considering what Ireland is like. So the first thing I do when I get to San Francisco is go and check into my hotel, and the hotel is called the San Francisco Inn. It was very nice, small but, you know, cozy enough, gives you what you need, and it also offers breakfast. So yeah, I check into the hotel and then I notice actually this hotel is located right on top of a gay bar. I'm like, what the hell? Why is this here? Because I knew San Francisco was like really like gay friendly, but I didn't know like I was in the gay area. Apparently I wasn't. It was just like a gay bar there because it is such a gay friendly city. But yeah, random enough. This weirded me out a little bit because I wasn't exactly out of the closet. But you know, I'm here by myself, so I'm like, you know what, you might as well just gay it up. So that's kind of what I did. But first what I did was go to the Golden Gate Bridge, and yeah, I went there around the evening time, so it was about 6:30 when I got there. I didn't expect it to be so cold up there because it is so sunny. So yeah, I go and walk along the Golden Gate Bridge, and then it starts getting dark when I reach the end of it. Then I'm like, oh wait, the gate closes at like 9 o'clock. So I'm like, okay, just get out of here and you'll be sweet. But I didn't realize how long the bridge was to walk again. So as I'm walking along it, the time gets closer and closer to 9 o'clock. I'm like, shit, am I gonna be locked on this bridge? Because there was also no one behind me really. There was only a few people, but I don't know what they were playing at. They were still walking as if they were trying to leave the bridge, but they were walking so slow that I was like, should I be worried or not? But you know what, I'm like, just run as fast as you can. And yeah, I did make it back in time. But once I got to the original side of the bridge where you start, I was like, okay, how do I get back to the hotel? Because of course my phone is dead or there's no like Ubers about, and I'm like, how the hell am I getting out of here? And then all of a sudden this taxi pulls up, like this guy just appeared out of nowhere and he was asking if I needed to go anywhere. I'm like, yes, I need to go to the San Francisco Inn, like now, because it was absolutely freezing. This just seems so strange to me because he basically came out of nowhere. Like there was no taxis about, but this guy just appeared. Maybe he was waiting for someone else, but I didn't care. I was just glad to get in the car and get on my way out of there. Yeah, I arrived back at the hotel and I remember just feeling so nervous because I was on top of a gay bar, and at this point in my life I hadn't came out as gay yet, but I'm like, you know what, while you're here you might as well just go down and see what it's like. I remember walking up to the bar and there was like an entry fee of $10, and I looked inside and it just looked like lots of older people. It just weirded me out too much, so I politely decline and walk away. And then I just get around other parts of downtown San Francisco, and there wasn't too much to see because unlike other places in America like Las Vegas or New York, which are like 24/7, San Francisco is quite different, where places actually shut at a certain hour. So at this point of the night there's only a few bars and restaurants still open, and there's not too many in this particular area. So I'm like, okay, I'll just get food and go back to the hotel, and that's what I did. So yeah, the next day I decided to go to Pier 39 because I've heard so many good things about it, and it really was class. You got to see sea lions and all these different boats, and the harbour area was just, you know, so peaceful, and you could see out in the distance Alcatraz Island, where you can also visit and see the remains of this very famous jail, but I didn't do that, so I continued exploring Pier 39 and I went and got food in this like lovely little restaurant, you know, living the life. I remember getting the waiter to take a photo of me because why not, you know, I'm here by myself. Someone has to do it. That's another thing I forgot to think about when I was traveling by myself, is getting strangers to take your photo, because selfies like aren't the greatest for capturing the whole, you know, landscape, and sometimes you just want a decent photo, and if you're by yourself it's pretty difficult to get done, so you have to like pester people and it's not fun. But one thing I did try to do was find a couple, because then I could also suggest to them if they want a photo, and then they would usually respond by saying yeah, sure, thanks, and I would take their photo and then they would offer to take one of me. So that was my trick, and that usually works unless the couple is very, you know, much like no piss off, which does not really happen, but still. So on my way to and from Pier 39 I get to see more of San Francisco, like in the car, like going up the hills, which are very, very steep. I couldn't imagine trying to drive up there, but yeah, seeing the cityscape was just pretty cool. And then I get back to the hotel, and then I start using this app for certain people like myself, and get speaking to a guy called Diego, who is really nice. He starts telling me about all these different places to see in San Francisco before I go, and then I mentioned to him that I want to see the Castro District, and he's like, yeah, sure, I'll show you around. I'm so glad he did, because without him I would have been able to see some of the spots that I never would have been able to go and see by myself, because I would be so unsure and just, you know, too nervous. But like, he was so lovely and really helpful. Getting to explore the different bars and clubs in the Castro area was pretty cool. I remember going to like this particular like a club place, and they were playing Bad Romance, and the dance floor, it wasn't. I remember going to this one place and they were playing Bad Romance by Lady Gaga, and everyone was on the dance floor, and it wasn't that big of a place, but dance floor was completely like food, and everyone was just dancing, and it was like also hot and like, ooh, but yeah, I enjoyed it, you know, but it was different. So after we leave this nightclub, we go and head off to this little bakery area, and they have these cookies on display with gay names, and the chocolate chip one is called Basic Bitch because it's just like so basic, and then they have another one called Fudge Packed, which is basically like, you know, a fudge packed cookie. So then we head back, and then I remember on the journey back seeing a Best Buy, and I'm like, oh my god, there's a Best Buy. And I'd never seen Best Buy, I just remember hearing about it, but seeing it in person just really threw me off. I don't know why, but I remember Diego was laughing because like it's just a normal shop to him, but to me it wasn't. So yeah, the next day Diego meets up with me again, and then he takes me to see this park before I go, and this park is in the Castro District area. It's really pretty. I can't remember the name of it again, but yeah, it was pretty popular amongst tourists. It just seemed so peaceful, and it was super chill, just lying there on the grass. And then we went to Starbucks, and that was pretty much the end of the trip. I really enjoyed it, had a blast, you know. Loved going to see the studio tours and doing the James Corden show. Also going to San Francisco, getting to see the Golden Gate Bridge, Pier 39, and you know, meeting Diego and getting to see the Castro District. It was like just an incredible experience, and I hope you enjoyed watching, and thank you. Bye.